Yeah, you're from BCIT.
Okay. Hello, Rupinder.
Hi, Medhat. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. My name is Medhat, and Rupinder is from Signature Recruiting, and they're sponsoring our event today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I have a few questions for you. Okay, so my questions for you. What is the IT job market like nowadays?
That's a very good question, Medhat. I've been doing IT recruiting in Vancouver for about 13 years now, and this is the strongest market that I've seen so far for software developers. Whether it be front-end developers, back-end developers, full-stack developers across different technologies, across Microsoft technology, across open source, this is a very strong job market. And also, you will notice in the market that there are more permanent positions out there. It's very typical of a good market because there is a lot more confidence, and companies are trying to ramp up. And so it's a pretty strong IT market. I'll say out of all the categories, the software developers are the ones wherein probably the demand is really, really high for experienced developers.
That sounds interesting because it's encouraging. We're all in the IT industry and we like to hear good news. And what about the projected need, say, in the next 2 years? According to what you're saying, it seems like it's going to grow.
Yes, I think so. I think for the next 2 years, I'm very optimistic that it's going to be a pretty strong market. While what we should notice is that the full-time permanent versus consulting opportunities should balance out. Right now you see a lot more permanent positions, but at some point of time they'll balance out, but you'll still continue to see a very strong IT software development market for the next 2 years. The other skill sets, the project managers, business analysts, QA, infrastructure, and all the other skill sets will still be in demand, but not as much in software development, but they'll still be in demand in my opinion, and there'll always be good opportunities for it.
So what is driving this demand? Are there like new companies moving here, or are they startups? What's causing all of this?
I think a very good question,
Yeah.
A combination of all that. We've got a lot of startups starting out and they have a need for software developers. And we've got the bigger companies like Amazon, Microsoft, also driving a lot of, I'll say, effects in the market. They are hiring quite a bit. So essentially what ends up happening is that if Amazon is going out and hiring a bunch of people, they need to come from the next set of companies here, and that company loses its people, and then they need to hire from the next set of companies, and then the following. So it sends out a ripple effect in the market. All in all, when you've got a lot of companies looking for people, you will notice that there are a lot of postings, a lot of job opportunities, and I'll say a lot of startups in Vancouver are driving that too from the other end.
Because the word in the street that we hear is that, especially about Microsoft, we hear that Microsoft is actually bringing in people from outside, and that they're not really hiring people from the local market. But what you're saying is that to some extent they do.
To some extent, I've seen some people get hired, but again, not in huge numbers from Microsoft. Amazon, I have seen a number of people that we lost out to competing offers to Amazon. So I'll say Microsoft. I don't work with either one of those companies, so I can't comment on that. But as a recruiter on the outside, what I notice is that Amazon has been hiring, but there are a number of other companies that are hiring, that are trying to grow bigger as well. We work with a couple of companies that are trying to double in size, and they've got a lot of positions, software technology companies. So overall, I'll say that it's a pretty positive outlook as far as the market is concerned, at least for the next 2 years. It's very difficult to predict what's going to happen after that.
What about the mix between contract work and full-time work? Are there a lot of positions that are more contract or more full-time? What does it look like?
What I've noticed in my experience is, in a good market, you tend to see more full-time permanent positions. Contracting is evergreen. You're always going to need contractors. What drives the need for contractors is when you don't have a full-time person in place, the work still needs to get done, you will instead hire a contractor. Or maybe it's a short-term arrangement, maybe it's a medical leave or a mat leave, or you need somebody with a certain skill set but not for a longer period of time. So those are all good reasons to bring in consultants. And ultimately, to keep it very simple, right now what we're noticing is that companies are hiring for full-time permanent people, but if they're not able to find those people, at some point of time they are also being flexible and trying to bring in people on contract till they find the solution. The last 2 years has been a pretty strong permanent market, but as I said, my outlook for 2017 is that there is going to be, it's going to balance out between contract and permanent positions.
Thank you. I think maybe one or two more questions. What is the most sought out after specialization in the IT industry nowadays?
Without a doubt, software development. And when I say software development, companies are looking for strong software developers who've got strong fundamentals and demonstrated learning ability and an open attitude towards technologies. We are noticing more and more positions wherein they are becoming technology agnostic as opposed to hiring a certain skill set. So they like people who worked with a couple of technologies, and but in the interviews as well, we noticed that there is more pair programming, there is more whiteboarding, there are more fundamental level questions. So software development, and if I could share a tip to people who plan to change the job in the near future or are considering, I'll say brush up those fundamentals. It might be a while since you may have read up on them, but it never hurts, because the whole interview pattern seems to be going that way, that people want to get to know how strong your fundamentals are.
And the last question is, I say that as a teacher, because I work at BCIT, as you know, and we have always students who are looking for work at the beginning, but when they try to go to recruiters, my advice to them is, maybe it's too early for you to go to recruiters. You have to get experience first before you go to recruiters. And I just want to validate that. Is that correct?
To quite an extent, yes. What happens is companies engage us for a very specific purpose. Most of the times, or most of the companies that we work for, the bulk of the positions that we get are intermediate to senior. So they want us to find people who got experience and expertise in a certain skill set or a certain set of technologies, and we try to go after that. I wish we were getting more junior or entry level positions, but it's a lot more easier for companies to go to campuses and hire people from there without any experience. When they come to recruiters, they want to make sure that they are getting specialized people, and that's what recruiters specialize in. So we build networks within the IT market, meet up with people, understand what their experience is, and understand what they are looking for, what their preferences are, and then we match them with the right opportunities when it's the right timing or when the right opportunities come up. So yeah, to quite an extent that is true. We have placed people at entry-level positions as well, but bulk of the positions that we work on are more more intermediate to senior positions.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we hope you come and sponsor us again.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Have a good evening.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.